up, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. If there's one company out there what isn't doing well, it's the GFL. Because it has been reported by Ariel Helwani that the GFL have cancelled their very first two shows, which were meant to happen on May 24th and May 25th in LA, and the future of the company is in doubt. And I've got to be honest, lads, I could never see this one coming. Like, I'm not trying to take the piss, but who in the right mind thought that this was ever going to be able to compete with someone like the UFC or even the PFL or even Risen? This was never going to take off. Yes, they were signing big names, but what were all of those big names? Washed people who had been sat in retirement homes for the past few years. You had people like Wadoom, Junior Dos Santos, Tyrone Woodley, Tony Ferguson when people want him to retire. All of these big names were just washed fighters who didn't have any star power anymore. A few years ago, you know what, fair, I say a few years ago, 10 years ago, yeah, fair enough, they had a lot of name value. In 2025, that isn't the case. And you know what, if they're just signing old talent, then whatever, I suppose, it's not going to be the best for future stars and for a future company if you're just signing old fighters. But regardless of that, they weren't just signing old fighters, they were chucking stupid amounts of money at some of these fighters. I mean, it was reported that apparently one of the GFL heavyweight fighters was on a contract of 1.4 million per fight. That is more than what the majority of UFC fighters make. Even some of the stars in the UFC don't make that amount per fight. And the main reason that I'm gutted is because we don't get the behemoth of a fight between Dylan Dennis and Tony Ferguson. Obviously, I'm taking the piss. It probably wouldn't have happened anyway because Dylan Dennis pulls out of all of his fights. But regardless, that would have been a complete different spectacle. But I'll be honest, the main reason I'm annoyed is because it was another potential MMA organization that possibly could have made the sport better. I've always said, and I feel like it's very common sense, if the more competitors that you have, the better the product is. When any organization ever has competition, they want to do even better to outdo the competition. So it's always best for business when you have a competitor. And I felt like the GFL, if they actually did it properly, then hopefully they could have, you know, been someone to maybe get fucking Dana White and the UFC sweating just a tiny bit so we get a bit more of a better product. But obviously that's not the case. And no, for the fucking morons out there, I'm not saying that the GFL had the potential to make the UFC sweat or be scared or anything like that. I'm just saying it's a bit of a ball ache that the GFL couldn't become an MMA organization that was legit, a good one, and again become that eventually. And I'm very aware that I'm talking as though the GFL has already folded, it's collapsed. That's not the case, at least not yet. But if you're cancelling your very first two events, I just feel like nothing's going to happen. I feel like it makes it even more weird as well that the whole promo that they had going on for the GFL was just a bunch of AI bullshit that everyone was just like, what the fuck is this? And although the GFL is pretty much a meme, I do feel sorry for the fighters that were signed to the GFL because they potentially have big paydays coming their way. Like I said earlier, with the heavyweight who's meant to be on $1.4 million. Who knows what other fighters were meant to be on as well. So it is a shame that these fighters now don't get that payday. I mean, at least one positive we got out of this is the beef between Cage Warriors and the GFL, and Cage Warriors just keep on fucking dunking on the GFL now that their event has been cancelled. But that's it from me, guys. What did you think about the GFL? Do you still think that the GFL will end up hosting some sort of event in the future? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.